What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you to my first impressions video on Forza Horizon 4, which just launched, well, 2 days ago at the time of recording this, so probably 3 days before you're getting this video. One of a few videos I'm actually making at the moment, so I do have an update for you guys that I'm going to be putting out in the coming hours, maybe days, I don't know. As soon as I can get it out, I'm going to get it out, but regardless, videos like this are here to kind of tide you guys over for the minute. I know I haven't been uploading things lately, but things came up, and yeah, now we're just doing this for the time being. So let's talk about Forza Horizon 4 for a little bit. So Forza Horizon 2, for those who watch my Let's Play know that I absolutely adore, or what I got done of my Let's Play before it was unceremoniously canceled, at least for the time being. I really adore Forza Horizon. I think that the series is absolutely phenomenal, and I think that the games have just gotten better, at least with 1 through 3. In almost every aspect, they've improved in every single way, and the general consensus right now is that 4 continues with that trend. That is just a perfect improvement upon Forza Horizon 3. There are still a couple of kinks to iron out, but it is very good. Now, I only have about 3.5, 4 hours of experience with the game thus far, so please take my opinion on it, you know, knowing that full well and knowing that I probably haven't experienced a lot of the later things in the game. But as far as first impressions go, there's a lot about Forza Horizon that you can glean right from the get-go that apply to the remainder of the game that has been true in the last 2 entries. And that is just a level of consistency when it comes to progression. So let's talk about the pros of Forza Horizon 4 first things first. So obviously you can see this with the gameplay. The game is gorgeous, and this is just recorded off of a standard Xbox One. I don't even have an S, let alone an X, or a means of recording this on my PC. This is on a standard Xbox One. Absolutely phenomenal looking game. It's just beautiful. I mean, that is something that they improve every single time, is just the fidelity of the games. They look amazing. Can't even imagine what this game looks like. Well, I can, but I mean, I really wish I could be playing this in 60 frames per second right now, because holy cow, this game is just gorgeous. Just wonderful, wonderfully done. And in terms of the actual driving and racing mechanics, I mean, they're as good as ever. They didn't really need improving because they were already about as good as you could hope in 2 and 3, and they've retained that here. Everything drives phenomenally. There's no glitches. There's no, I guess, odd feedback when it comes to driving and the controls. I mean, it plays beautifully. I do firmly believe that Forza Horizon is far and away the best racing game on the market, and has been for this entire generation, and for good reason, even more so than Forza Motorsport. I think Horizon just nails it in every aspect and is the quintessential racing experience that one could ever hope to get on a current generation console. I stand by that vehemently. Now, Forza Horizon 4 also, you know, it adds a bunch of new content. I like all of that stuff too. I don't really have any complaints with the core mechanics of Forza Horizon, at least in terms of it being a racing game. The open world is phenomenal as well. I mean, Forza Horizon 2 and 3 had big maps, but there's something about 4 where it really does eliminate those last few barriers that 3 and 2 had, that really truly makes this feel like an open world game. Now, Forza Horizon 2, Forza Horizon 3, they were both very open world, but they had a lot of, I guess, what you could call invisible, or, well, not necessarily invisible, but they had restrictions. Like, there were certain barriers that you just could not get past. I mean, you know, not including, obviously, the boundaries in the map, but, I mean, within the map, there were just certain boundaries that were just set up that you could not get through them, you could not get past them. Now, while 4 obviously still has a couple of those, you know, like barricades on, like, the freeway and stuff like that, for the most part, you can go anywhere in this. I'm talking anywhere. Like, even in the middle of a freaking lake, you can break through pretty much any barrier in the game, no problem. There's very, very few walls you cannot get around in Forza Horizon 4, and it really feels like the game has just opened up that much more, to the point where this is truly about as limitless an open world racer as you could ask for. And I love that a lot. I really do. In terms of the way this map looks as well, you know, in each of the 4 seasons that go throughout, that it showcases in Forza Horizon 4, I think this is the best looking map yet. Like, I was a huge fan of the way Australia looked in Forza Horizon 3. I didn't know if they were going to be able to top that, honestly, and they kind of have in a location that I honestly didn't think they would. I mean, this is just, you know, is it technically England, just England, or is it Great Britain? I don't know. It's the United Kingdom. Regardless, it looks freaking great. It's just a beautiful location, and honestly one that I wasn't expecting to be, you know, so phenomenal in terms of appearances, and yet it's absolutely phenomenal. They made it look great. The way that the seasons work is very, very nice as well. I mean, almost regardless of what season you're in, you're going to be appreciating it in one way or another. And obviously, these do lend challenges to the way that you race. I mean, obviously, like winters, it's going to be difficult for traction. You know, you're going to be dealing with other, you know, mechanics and elements in the other seasons as well. I mean, obviously, that's the whole point of Forza Horizon 4. I feel like all of these mechanics have been very well thought out. I mean, it seems like such a simple little thing to add to Forza Horizon, to the Forza Horizon formula, but it really does help the game open up quite a bit. Basically, in terms of Forza Horizon being a successful racer, this game does improve in every single way. However, there is something that I feel like a lot of reviewers are skipping on and aren't really paying a whole lot of attention to, that, in my opinion, does hamper the experience of Forza Horizon 4 quite a bit as opposed to the previous entries. And that is in regards to, well, there's honestly two things, but the first thing is actually I'll leave that for after, but one of the things is kind of minor. It's more of a minor gripe, but the major issue that I have so far with the game is I guess what you could call the loot table, or the progression, the reward table, the reward system, I suppose. So let's talk about the monetization of this game for a minute. So I've actually always defended Forza Horizon's monetization in that, yes, it is possible to buy anything you want in the game. This has been the case with I mean, I should mention, I have not played the first Forza Horizon, but in 2 and 3, yes, you could technically, if you wanted, purchase every single car in the game with real-world money. However, the value of doing this, or the value that, you know, each car is weighted at in terms of real-world purchases, is obscene. It is absolutely absurd. It is so freaking high and expensive that unless you are honestly loaded with expendable cash, no one in their right mind would ever waste their time buying these cars with real-world money, when it is honestly so much easier to unlock these through just playing the game. I mean, the cost of a really nice car, like for instance, is like the cost of buying the game again, which really that exact same car you could probably get in like an hour or so of just playing the game, maybe 2 hours. I mean, that's an absurd value discrepancy, and I've really never seen that as an issue. The only reason why, I mean, it honestly almost feels like they should just take it out in the first place, because I can't really imagine why anybody in their right mind would waste that money. And I'm not talking about DLC car packs. I'm talking about every car that's in the game has an actual value in what they call tokens, and those tokens can be bought with real money. But again, the value is just so freaking off the charts that there's no reason to ever spend real world money on that stuff. The only time I can ever see anybody honestly doing that is, you know, for instance, like some people that actually play this game in a competitive or hardcore environment want to automatically have the best car to qualify for a certain event. They would just go and outright purchase just that specific car so that they can compete in whatever events. Like, this is like specifically the most dedicated, most hardcore Forza players that absolutely need that car right off the bat, even though they, you know, and they really don't feel like actually playing to get it, which that's like the only scenario where I can see that being the case. I would say the one thing I do sort of have an issue with in terms of Forza's microtransactions is the VIP pass. And that is, it unlocks several things, but on top of unlocking all sorts of little goodies, it also does allow you to earn credits twice as quickly, which is the in-game currency that you use to unlock things. Now, this, granted, I don't absolutely hate it because it's not like it's a subscription. It's not like it's something that you have to constantly renew. It's a one-time purchase, and it's not honestly that expensive. It's like $12. But it is still kind of crappy that your experience is automatically hampered. Like, you could make the argument that, yes, they are cutting your credit earnings in half unless you have the VIP pass. Although, while you could say that, yes, I have earned credits even in this game so quickly that it really hasn't honestly bothered me that much to not have the VIP pass, but I digress. Now, there is one thing that has been honestly very ripe for exploitation in terms of microtransactions, and that is the wheel spins that are in this game. These are the unlocks you get with every single level you gain in the game, as well as by doing other activities that allows you to basically spin a wheel and you get a reward. Now, in Forza Horizon 2 and 3, these rewards boil down to two things. Either a certain amount of credits, and there were several amounts of credits that could be gotten in any wheel spin, both high and low, and there were also some cars that you could honestly win. So again, both really nice cars and also some really crappy cars that you could get. But regardless, you were either getting more credits towards a car unlock, or you were getting a vehicle itself that you didn't already have. And the nice thing was is there's no such thing as getting duplicates. If you have the car, it won't appear in the wheel spin again. So this is honestly something that you could say is ripe for exploitation. Why not, make it so that players can buy these wheel spins so that they can get more stuff? To my knowledge, from what I can tell, in 2 and 3, this was not the case. You cannot buy these wheel spins, and to my knowledge, in 4, you cannot either. Now, technically, you get some free wheel spins for getting the VIP pass, but that's like it. That's like the closest thing you can get, and again, it's still a one-time purchase. You can't just go out and buy these like loot boxes. So really, that's something that I'm totally for, because again, they haven't completely exploited this wheel spin system. What I'm not for is the one thing that they made that was a big change in Forza Horizon 4 that is totally mucking up this whole system. And it's not monetization in any way, it's the driver customization system. So in Forza Horizon 4, and I guess they did this in Forza Motorsport 7 as well, but in Forza Horizon 4, they now allow you to customize your driver, like your actual little character that sits in the cars, and for very select scenes and cutscenes, actually walks around and talks to people or does a stupid emote or whatever. And you can customize this character with unlocks for like hats, shirts, all sorts of apparel, emotes, different kinds of things that you can unlock throughout the game. And here's the problem though, you can't just unlock these things with credits. You unlock them through wheel spins, and exclusively through wheel spins, or as end of race rewards. You can get that through progression rewards, but you can't just buy these things with credits. And now that these things are included in the wheel spin pool, there's a chance that you can get them there as well instead of a car or credits. Now, this is my biggest issue with Forza Horizon 4 so far. First of all, I don't care about drivers. They're useless. They don't freaking do anything in this racing game because it's just there. I was totally fine with my character just having a vague appearance and then them appearing in the car, and I never saw their face again except for in the few cutscenes that they would show up in throughout the game. Whatever. In this game, they don't really have much more relevancy yet. For some reason, we need to customize them all, and we need to clutter up the loot table with a bunch of stupid unlocks for these really useless characters that, again, we're not really ever going to see. And that's probably my biggest gripe, because the thing about the progression system in Forza that I've always really liked is no matter what you're doing, no matter how bad your wheel spin was, no matter what you were doing, even if you were just driving on the road, zipping around cars, in some way or another, you were getting rewarded, whether it was through experience, whether it was towards skill points to getting perk unlocks, whether it was getting credits, any of those things, you were always getting something. Getting these items for my stupid driver character that I don't care about is the first time in Forza where, upon getting them, I feel like I've literally been given nothing. Because, first of all, a lot of these unlocks are really stupid. Half of them are just t-shirts that just have a logo on them or something, or a design on them. And it's I would take the lowest possible credit amount every single time before I'd take one of those in a wheel spin. Every single time. And again, this is just personal preference. I know some people really dig this stuff. With the advent of Fortnite, everybody's digging emotes and all that stuff. Everyone wants to see their character dabbing up on a hill while you overlook the landscape and when you found it in the Forza map or something. I don't know. Everyone likes their emotes and their cosmetic unlocks, all right? Me, I like cosmetic unlocks on my cars because they're cool and I get to actually see them. They're also not unlocks, they're free. They're just community stuff. I don't give a crap about my driver, and I especially don't want their crap cluttering up my loot pool where I could be getting, actual credits and cars and stuff. And that's probably the biggest reason why the VIP pass this time around feels a little bit more exploitative than it did in previous games. And that's because that double credit unlock seems more necessary now that I have less chances to get credits. And that's my biggest issue so far. And this, I feel like, is something that a lot of people are going to have problems with in Forza Horizon 4, because I know for a fact a lot of people want to play Forza to race. I really don't see a whole lot of people outside of the aforementioned Fortnite crowd, or people who like games of that nature, that are going to care about their drivers dabbing or doing any other dumb celebrity-related emote, while they next to their car or in a cutscene or something. Like, it really is, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. And the problem is there's no way to opt out of it. I'm forced to get these unlocks. And you know what? I've done like 20 wheel spins already since I've started playing this game, and more than half of my rewards have been, from those wheel spins, have been cosmetic unlocks that I don't care about. So that's my biggest issue with Forza Horizon 4. The other little gripe I have, this is very minor, but I do have it is a legitimate concern for one reason, is in Forza Horizon 2 and 3, when you started up the game, it would make you do like a little race to get to the starting area, and then it would do a couple cutscenes, a couple tutorials, just to kind of get you into the feel of things. Usually within about the first hour, you were let loose, in essence. I mean, obviously the progression to get through your races and stuff is still technically linear throughout all the games, but you were still allowed to roam and explore everything and just kind of do things at your own pace. You could just go grind out XP and perks and stuff like that and start going after cars that way if you wanted to, because honestly that's the most effective way of doing it. Things like that. You could just go and have fun, within an hour of the game, and the game just opened up, and I loved that. In 4, it feels like they've extended that by like 3 times, because they're also trying to do their whole seasonal thing, but then they also have, rather than overarching progression throughout the game with your perks and stuff like that, it's car and event specific. So they have their event types, like there's your dirt races, your street races, your standard just open city races and stuff like that. They're all separated into groups, and you actually level up through these groups rather than just some overarching, general progression like it was in Forza Horizon 2 or 3. This also applies to car perks. Rather than having perks overall as a driver that carry over into no matter what car you're using, that's now car-specific unlocks that you can only get while using that car. And, with these little things that come with the game, it felt like they tried to sit you down and explain more, when really it's not hard to grasp. It's not that much more different than it is in 2 and 3. It's just tiny differences. But it actually took me more like 2.5 hours before things started to really open up, which I can see that being an issue for first-time Forza Horizon players who get into this and, they just want to kind of play this open-world game that they've heard all their friends talk about, and the game handholds them for way longer than is necessary. So that was my other issue. But again, once it opens up, it's like any other Forza Horizon game. Now, I do want to also briefly talk about that car-specific thing. I can see that being an issue for some people. In Forza Horizon 2 and 3, when you did skill bonuses and stuff like that and just racked them all up, you could get perks, which you could use towards an overarching menu that would just allow you to just unlock these perks, and no matter what car you got in, you could use these perks at any time. These would be things that would, increase skill multipliers, or would give you bonus credits for various events or various things that you did. And these, once you unlock them, you just had them. Well, in Forza Horizon 4, these perks are now car-specific, which I can see being an issue because these perks are car-specific. You are kind of forced to get attached to the cars that you have. Now, you could just make the argument, if you don't want to get attached to this car, don't use it. Only, obviously waste time, or quote-unquote waste time, or spend time unlocking perks on a vehicle that you care about. Makes sense. I can see that argument as well. But I can also see the other side, where people are going to be a little bit annoyed by the fact that they spent all this time unlocking all these things, and then when they get a brand new vehicle that they've been saving up for, all of those perks that they had with their car are now lost, and they have to re-earn them all over again. I can see that being a sore point for some people. I don't personally mind it too much, but I did feel like it was worth bringing that to attention. So I actually did spend most of this video talking about the negatives, but the reason being is because Forza Horizon already has so many inherent positives. Negatives really are the only thing that was left to talk about in Forza Horizon 4. It's still a phenomenal game. It really is. It still is another awesome Forza Horizon game. But there were some major gripes that I feel like a lot of reviewers kind of skipped over, or major potential gripes that a lot of reviewers I feel like skipped over when talking about this game, because the sentiment is going around that Forza Horizon 4 is just another better Forza Horizon game. It's even better than the last one, and I can see actually a lot of people not liking this one as much as 3 for those reasons, because because those are 3 issues, potential issues, that were not in 2 or 3 at all. There are other improvements over those games, but a lot of those improvements are so minor that I can see this being a small downgrade, or even possibly, you know, if you really, really hate what they did to the loot system or the reward system, some people might actually like this game a lot less than 3. So there's always that. I just kind of wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. That's it for my first impressions on Forza Horizon 4. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background. I hope you enjoyed this kind of impromptu impressions video. I have another impressions video that I'm going to be recording immediately after this that you guys should get soon about Destiny 2. So look forward to that, and I will see you all in the next one.